Having trouble. Love those abstraction poems. And Stephen Dunn, in one of his poems, has a line where if you're going to use abstractions, make sure they have the ache in them. And boy, yours had the ache in them. Thank you. And that line, what sound does the wind make if you don't name it? Isn't that lovely? The naming that's been going on this evening. And it's sort of how we know we exist. As humans and indeed as poets. Thank you, Susan. And Haida Gwai, what a remarkable, I was going to say magic, and that would have really nailed me. It's a white guy, but there you go. But it's a very unusual, wonderful place. I'm not sure how many poets in this audience had a chance to study and work with Allen Ginsberg, Anne Waldman when she was wild and young, and Marianne Faithfull when she was wild and young. But I know for sure one of you has. And I know that you wrote a poem called Red Elk's Protege, which I found in a 2010 collection called Skin Like Mine, published by Ronsdale Press, one of our small press room sponsors. That poet is Garry Gottfriedson from Kamloops, BC. What a bio. He's self-employed rancher from the Shuswap Nation with an MA in education. He's a longtime educator. He's currently principal of a school of excellence in Kamloops. And here's an excerpt from his poem, Red Elk's Protege. It seems long ago now that my words were young and naive, rhymeless and stupid, among those who knew the hearts of paradise seekers, riding the tsunami sheets in Ginsberg's bed, or ducking Waldman's voice in poetic performances. Allen was at his best then, and Waldman relentless. Faithful stood firm, crumbling beneath her fears. But Read By was my favorite. I have never forgotten that he taught me poetry runs in my veins. It is imagery, meteors, and metaphors. But more importantly, a poet never compromises his voice. Just read one of Gottfriedson's 8 published books. You will see that he has not compromised his voice. And we are so lucky to hear this internationally recognized and celebrated voice. And what a line. Imagery, meteors, and metaphors. Please welcome Garry Gottfriedson.
I need to move this penis down.
It'll get there.
Okay. Such hope. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Whiskey bullets. I am love. I'm in love, alone. Filling my mouth with whiskey bullets, staring at upside-down carnations and lilies, hanging from ceiling corners, wishing they could resurrect dead love. Wilted flowers and whiskey bullets are weapons and ugly realizations that I will never be good enough for you. October skin. Rain-soaked and facing south, my face drops pebbles. Autumn dew dampens the dying leaves, life clings desperately on. Winter slows change, a time to recall. Red man, I am called. There's a graveyard in my throat. Disillusion is a boneyard, closer to the sun than we think. Our thoughts are silk rivers written poetically on rice paper. My identity is mistaken Asian. White boys playing dirty politics with our lives. I am rock, wet pebbles, and maps of Indians. Solid northern light, sweet southern song, October skin. Wolf eyes. I am here, waiting, watching your breath. Fog rolling over prairie, reaching mountains full of promise. The crackle of your breathing ignites my arched spine, speaks of body heat, to take off the chill and then dampen my moss-scent skin as your roving tongue licks the salt from my neck, from my belly. The drum in my stomach pounds butterflies wanting flight in evergreens, in valleys made of evergreens. Come to me, wolf eyes. I'm here in solitude, waiting in the west for the sun's slow death. In the forest. Peace turned up loudly for a moment. With boisterous clomping on forest floors, allegro on pathways over twigs, serenading butterflies with the blues, ears perked dog-like, straining for the chirp of birds, telescope eyes scanned bushes on the outlook for bears stuffing their bellies full of raspberries and strawberries, lulling spirit songs out of honor, in respect of, because of pity. And then the forest falls. Chainsaws and machines rip heavy metal music, drop trees, turn to planks. Butterflies flee, die screaming. Chicken little pummels from the sky. Worms surface as evergreens fall. Mountainsides slide into the river. Salmon float belly up. Black bears scavenge garbage bins. Knee-bent tourists rummage the debris. Click, click their cameras. Believe they are one with the wild until they are eaten alive. Google can't help anymore. GSP has a virus. There is no safe place on sea or land or in the sky. Laborers scream for solace, drop their faces into their oil-layered hands. Shame is the sound of money exported. Angst is for the love of your company. Peace dies of cancer. Thunderstorms. I love thunderstorms. Rain on the tin roof at midnight. Your breath, my breath. Hearts in our rib cages pounding, breathless and blind, as lips compel lips. The scent of the earth when the rain begins. I am drawn in by silk sheets, the puddles of fresh rain. Your skin, my skin. The bending of limbs, leaves belly dancing as the wind shifts songs, the color of night when the rain begins. It is meant to be this way. You, me, thunderstorms. And I'm going to read one more, and it's called Dangerous Words, the trio. I'm going to ask my two friends to come up and help me out with this poem. And it's a poem about Duncan Campbell Scott, Grey Owl, Archibald Mullane, and Pauline Johnson. So I'm going to ask Steve Collins to come up. He's going to read Grey Owl part for me.
Pauline, angel, hear these words. I speak from the grave, no longer a clerk in a lumberyard. I am the younger blood of Duncan, the brother who fills my spirit with life. I am the man stifled by my upbringing, abandoned by my mother, despised by my father, the drunkard. I am imprisoned with fear, terrified of letting go. I carry double-bladed knives in my body to protect the man hiding beneath the child. I paddle my way to love, believing you and I are pilgrims of the wild. Yet I am horrified to release the butterflies within. I escape to Toronto, convinced by an angel with soft teeth whispering dangerous words. I see her in the ripples of Lake Huron. She is shrouded by silk black wings, caressing her desperation. I return to the bushlands in northern Ontario, lie sexless on wild rose petals and thorns beside Angel. I rattle prayers over swamp tea the next morning with Duncan, while she tangles quaint discussions with those she despises. I savor the taste of my brother and roses, thinking of the love waiting at the periphery. I remember songs on the tips of my fingers and pull a cigarette from behind my ear, reminiscing. I cling to the protective pouch hanging around my neck, hum a holy song, hoping it will reach lands across the ocean. I sense my own mother, Kitty, burrowing below my skin, a ghostly sorrow stopping my growth. I curse because of her fork-tongued torture, the crippling she has bestowed upon me. Pauline, because of her, I seek to embrace true love. God hands it to me by bow and arrow, but then I scream the unacceptable, hiding in the shadow of my angel's wings. I run to the devil in deerskins, fantasize I am the Red Indian. I stop the wind from raising the hairs on my arms because I realize I am better in the wild than I am in love. I build wigwams beneath my skin, yet secretly want the inside to burst of body heat. I transport blue stones and give jade knives to Duncan because I know no other way to ask for his help. Yet I am so afraid to look him in the eye. Does this mean death or life? I know your power to hate him is less than mine. I rub your imaginary aches, run to get afternoon tea, turn down invitations of reality for you, Pauline. I offer my lumberyard body to the brown-skinned girls. As servant in each living room, I am present, but I deprive all of you of my masculine prime. This is my power. I know angels lose divine beauty when they desire control instead of freedom. And I know when this happens, they fall from heaven, never to return to the tales of an empty cabin. I recall everything, step by step. I move to Riding Mountain Park. I am compelled to be near the Indians, in a wilderness of my own making, to remember I ink tattoos on my arms, around the neck to tell stories, the demon and the angel, the prison and the escape. I never wash the sweat of Duncan from my body. He protects me from mother. I know you smell him on me. I play on this because you, my sweet Pauline, are afraid of him. Yet I know you churn poison to rub into his pores. I stare stone-faced out of windows, waiting for my brother. But the nights are long. I wait at the ridge of the boneyard.
Pauline. Archibald, I am Harleen, the angel in the dark rooms at Chef's Wood, although the public claims otherwise. I believe they hide in their own darkness, musing therein. Since my birth, they have made me a British ward, but I have tricks and magic, the beauty and the exotic native lulling in didactic tones. I can command and control every wish, every desire, every movement on the parts of my tongue where mothers live. I fantasize pulsing groans. Does your brother, Duncan... Let me just do that couplet again for you. I fantasize pulsing groins, as does your brother, Duncan. But I loathe the woman who has given birth to him, as I do him. I am a mismatch for him. I am power. I have the blood of an Indian woman in me. I see you are everything he is not. I call on the ancestors at dreamtime for a vision. They show me the Canadian despot, the scoundrel. I place porcupine quills in the tender parts of my body so that the destructiveness may repulse him but awaken others. I know this is a skill, the magic making, the control mechanisms for love in the right pitch. I can destroy the mother who lurks within you, knowing that I am childless, but the mother enough to replace her. I am years wiser and ahead of you. I am Indian woman, and I know the weakness of men 40 times over. I have slept with them all. Their thoughts, their weakness, I have learned that a woman goes for the soul, not the heart. I can easily shatter those shields protecting a man's heart, make tears glisten on warrior blades, their soul the prize. I am the rediscovered feminist, emphasizing style and artifact rendered as the first Canadian woman. I will not let you forget a cry from the Indian wife from the battle at Cut Knife Creek. I lip the song of my paddle sings, thinking of you, thinking of Rial, thinking of them all. I know Duncan does not rate me as the real thing. He explores the edge of my bed, smells the moss. I move closer to find my love, roam the mountains, finger dancing along the ridges of your body. I hear soft violins moaning deep within those like Verona, where Romeo and Juliet were doves cooing desperation. I discover ecstasy burning on my lips, my thighs, burning bush, needing the guts of wetness. I am quick to sizzle the intertwining of rage and despair, since you lie dormant near Lake Winnipeg, northern and cold. I remind myself hissing that angels construct heaven, knowing that men like you allow the rivers to run dry. I realize my magic is useless with you, but my aging body and active mind are relentless. I endlessly seek the coy advice of tarot cards, reading into the details of my maneuvers. I coil the sweetness of a serpent's breath on the bitter parts of my tongue, vibrating commands. I summon you to deliver, or I will end my life. And since you are a child, you obey jokingly. I lie upon my velvet bedding like my sister Cleopatra, preserved in a house museum, my breast burning of cancer. I close the lily lace curtains, draped in tribal costumes, lash out with meaningless tasks to appease my disappointments. I appeal to Duncan's chambers, for he is your equal. While the sweat drips off the hairs of his chest, I whisper, "Gray owl, can you see me laid across the forest, plains, and mountains?" My secrets are butterflies fluttering in his anger. I know the end is near. Will you come with me, gray owl?
Pauline, I adore you, my angel. The other I am not. Our lives will be one as with the Onondaga Madonna. I have built a Canadian empire awaiting your arrival, Parliament scoping a path to heaven, all for your pagan ways. I wander the rooms, peering south and west and north and east, anxious for the moment the canoe comes, delivering you to me. I want the blood of all Indian women opened at the arteries, drained of their ancestors. I want their sons hung on meat hooks, their flesh to be preserved as thought only. I want Canada whitewashed, its museums dotted with Indian corpses. I want extermination policies bulging from the eyes of heirs yet to come. I, earthquake, tremble with excitement. My younger brother, Grey Owl, stands by my side. I love him like no other can, as he does me, for I am familiar with the absolute oneness of brothers. I am the older, so I wrap my heavenly arms around him, protecting him from hideous nightmares. I swirl within, for my purpose is evident. He is my purpose. I give him purpose as he does me. I discharge sweat in the palms of my hand, dampening the wet stone I bring everywhere. I sharpen my weapons, my words, my desires, so that my stone structures are forever a fortress. I will protect him as I do you, sweet Pauline. For I am the federal civil servant, territorial. I forge assimilation policies mapping trails of hatred from coast to coast for eternity. I want to rid of the Indian problem until there is not one single Indian in Canada. I beg you, sweet Pauline, do not eclipse my role in history. I desire to stamp my dream within the Canadian psyche and build a legacy worthy to leave my beloved wards. I am the pianist, the poet, the prose writer, but know that my love is powerful enough for you as well. I see you, oh Pauline. I see all of you. The pink mornings and the orange evenings. I also recognize the blackness of nights without moon shining in your eyes. I imagine the brilliance of day. I want it. Rose petals slow dancing for the sun, carcasses dangling. I understand the language of natural heat, swimming below the sun, above the earth. I am solid with the power of words, the blood of my mother dampening my tongue. I sculpt my words for you, my sweet, a voice like yours, making the wind shake life into the leaves lodged in my throat. I am ablaze throughout my body. My skin sizzles to my bone. What has happened to me? I call on you, an arrow song for my ear, to speak into my soul, but you conjure magic at the very windows where I have stood. I understand the outcome, as still morning unveils shadows climbing stone walls for my enlightenment. I see your eyes exploring my brother, undressing him, enslaving him, entrapping him. I know he is loyal to me, and will not deceive the origin of his virtue. I am naked before you, handsome atop of your angelical body. I whisper, close your eyes, sweet Pauline. Death waits at the door of hell for you. I will spare Archibald, for we are the same. Thank you.